I first met Steve Jobs in 1982, and Steve was fascinated by the cola wars, Pepsi and Coke. Pepsi had gone from being outsold 5-1 by Coke to actually passing Coke as the largest selling consumer packaged good in America. I said, Steve, we didn't sell the product, we focused on the experience. And the Pepsi generation was all about the experience of the baby boomers, who in those days were young, and their affluence, and showing the lifestyle that they could aspire to, which was dirt bikes and surfing and mountain hiking. And I said, well, Steve, it's all about selling the experience, not selling the product. We followed on a few years later with another campaign called Pepsi Challenge, very different in the way it was executed, without the high production values of the Pepsi Generation Lifestyle campaign. But the approach we used was to get Coca-Cola drinkers to take a taste test and discover that they'd actually chosen Pepsi, and to capture the experience of how they reacted to that. And so that's called experience marketing. Steve recruited me to Apple as the first consumer marketing person to come to not only Silicon Valley, but to come into high tech, because there was no consumer marketing back in the early 1980s with high-tech products. And everybody was talking bits and bytes and performance about technology. When we launched the Macintosh, we launched it with a Super Bowl commercial that was all about experience and never showed the product, never described the product. It showed zombies marching into a big hall, looking up at a screen. We were trying to capture the moment of George Orwell in his book 1984, where we were going to all become automatrons and under the power of the state. And then down comes the aisle with this girl, actually Olympic athlete, running down the center aisle of this big auditorium with the zombies sitting there looking at the screen, and she releases in slow motion this hammer, and it hits the screen, and the screen explodes, and it says on the screen, on January 24th, 1984, Apple will introduce Macintosh, and 1984 won't be like 1984. Well, that commercial only ran one time. And yet it was run over and over and over again for free by every television network, because people were amazed. They'd never seen an experience like that before. In an era where today most advertising has become noise. If you want to get your message across, you've got to find a way to connect with your customer, your consumer in this case, in ways that become emotional. Apple still does that today with emotional experiences with their products, emotional experiences in their stores, emotional experiences with their advertising. And there are very few companies that do that. I think that people have got to not get overwhelmed with the ease of access of tools like Photoshop and high-def video cameras and things. Experience marketing is still, I think, one of the most powerful ways to break through the noise.